Yeah, so today I think we're going to get to, just do a little reflection about mainnet launch. We'll talk a little bit about, just delegation, state of the network, what's happening there. And we'll talk a little bit about governance, what's next, where to talk about it. We'll talk about, and always, as always, there's the resources around the public roadmap and community calendar call. My hope is to be pretty quick, see if there's conversations. I know that there's been different chatter about governance and next steps with the network, so happy to have a forum for everybody to talk about that together, if that indeed comes up. And then, we can continue these threads on asynchronously. So without further ado, I will start up my screen share. Right. So welcome everyone to Regen Network's community dev update on April the 21st. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to present. That yellow button always gets me. All right. So, woo! Mainnet launch was a success. Awesome work, everybody. That was pretty epic. Less than 10 seconds. I believe that could have been the fastest completely decentralized blockchain launch ever. And it happened because we'd all been practicing a bunch. So, everybody was just on it, which is awesome. So you can rewatch the event either on Crowdcast, or we should probably plop in the YouTube at this stage. I'm not sure how long the Crowdcast stays up. Yeah, we had a bunch of people registered, a bunch of people attended, and people have been watching consistently on Crowdcast and beyond. Oh, you know what? I just want to share, I'm going to stop this for just a second and head over to Discord. For those of you who didn't see this fantastic little graphic, I just want to share this. So this was in Discord. Probably many of you saw this, but I thought this was really exciting. This was a little heat map of the IP addresses of, where people were watching the Crowdcast from. Just, wow, pretty exciting to have people from all over the world, literally, South America, Australia, Africa, Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, China, Japan, a lot of folks in Europe, a lot of people in North America, Hawaii even. So pretty epic. This little stretch of, Siberia. We gotta, maybe we'll connect with the Pleistocene Park folks or something.
And Greenland and Iceland, we need to bring them on too.
Yeah, Greenland and Iceland. Got it.
So relevant for them.
So yes, totally. So I'll switch back into sharing here. I was just blown away by that event. So thanks everybody for attending with us. All right. So gets me every time. So delegations. If you haven't already, go stake your regen. Where it looks like we're edging up past 40 some percent, 43 or something last time I looked. The foundation is going to be doing delegations with the community staking DAO allocation here shortly, so that'll bring it up above 70%, but that still means that there's almost 30% of tokens that are not staked, which with transfers disabled, I would just like to note, encourage your friends to stake their tokens, because otherwise they're just losing value relative to the other tokens who are participating in block rewards. So stake your tokens. If you want to, you can watch the Crowdcast staking tutorial on It's both on YouTube and on Crowdcast. And there's some great, there's a whole channel that Dan's been helping folks on, and a bunch of great tutorials, some tutorials by some of our validators. The Stake to Earn folks wrote a nice tutorial, and the Peer-to-Peer Foundation wrote a nice tutorial for the community. So those are both great assets that we can also be linking to. And then, you know, also just people have been asking about delegate. Some people, mostly who are, you know, validators who showed up after the mainnet launch and are wanting to know how to become validators, have been asking about delegation strategy. So just resharing what the delegation criteria was, why, you know, we tried to basically just follow a formula from R&D Inc. and from the foundation to delegate. I do think there was a few mistakes where monikers were different in testnets and mainnet. So there's a process to sort of reconcile that. So there may be some redelegations, and then we'll be going through cycles around that. If people have feedback, we would prefer feedback about the criteria, not just feedback about how much you as a validator want to be delegated to. Because we really want to have a fair, transparent approach to this and not just sort of be doing one-off adjustments. So feedback around the criteria is really welcome. In fact, we would really encourage people to be engaged with thinking about that. And I'll be bringing up before too long some stuff actually in governance about, you know, sort of decentralized stake and how to be thinking about that. And by the way, Chris Remus at Chainflow, thank you so much for starting a conversation about that and offering to do some redelegations. Would you like to chat at all about that?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to delegate 50,000 tokens from our earnings to up to 5 smaller, independent, and yet very deserving validators. And yeah, I started the conversation in the Regen forum, and I need to come back. I've seen a few comments in there, so thank you. And the goal here is to hopefully help some of the smaller validators who may be between, say, like 50, 25 and 50, or even just outside the active set, but who participated, really strongly in supporting the network up until this point. And somewhat inspired by our experience in other Cosmos-based networks, where the validator set comes online and it stabilizes pretty fast, and then there's not a whole lot of movement after that. I think there's more movement in this case when compared to most other networks, but still, our hope is to maybe help, just give a small boost to some of the smaller validators who, might be either just outside the set or, within the second half of the set when listed by total stake. And I think a secondary purpose is hoping that maybe some of the other larger validator operators will maybe be inspired to follow suit.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for taking leadership on that and sharing a little bit about your approach. All right. So, I'm going the wrong direction. Here we go. I just wanted to swing everybody by the foundation delegations screenshot from the foundation bylaws. I think maybe the foundation could do a better job of trying to get them to get this into a blog or something, but this was the criteria for foundation delegation for their 5% of the token supply. I think everybody will note 7.5% under control by R&D, plus a few pools that are sort of like for dispersal and engagement with the community that are under management. And the 5% is a lot lower, sort of like team controlled than many networks. So, very proud of how decentralized things are. And, as large token holders, we really want to be diligent about expressing, again, sort of the transparent criteria we're trying to use to make delegation decisions. So this is on the foundation side, that community, the decision makers on the foundation side put this together. So I wanted to just share that, make sure it's in materials and the community's aware of this. we'll also put it up in the Discord. And again, the foundation is also going to be running delegations for the community staking DAO until those tokens are endowed to indigenous people and land stewards and landscapes and science organizations, etc. So look forward to that. That's a significant chunk of things, and there'll also be some information coming out I can share, obviously, and this was all in the white paper. This is all sort of, I think, fully been pretty well understood by the community, but those will be, the foundation will delegate those, but then whoever the validators are that are receiving those, the foundation's not going to override your vote in governance. So it will be sort of vesting and decentralizing decision-making out until a community staking DAO claims those tokens, and then they will have full sort of rights to those. So just to remind everybody of that, that's a kind of portion of what we're all up to here at Regen Network, trying to include a community that has previously not really had an opportunity to participate in protocol governance. So the Green NFT Hackathon is still up. We've gotten not a lot of activity over there. I think, honestly, it's probably a little bit of my fault. I'm not sure that I wrote that bounty very well. Validator registrations, if you haven't already in your validator, go register, just so there's a, another just way of delegators understanding about you and your operation. I think many people on this call have already done that, so thank you. I just wanted to have a conversation about governance. This is the biggest topic, I think, that, and if we're going to have any conversations on this call, I think this is probably the one to have. So there's a governance category at forum.regen.network on the discourse over there. Go check it out. If you've got ideas or proposals or would like to learn about, how we're going to be approaching governance, that is the place for right now. We will be evolving more and better tools. We're in the process of vetting Lumio and Hilo and a couple of other sort of tools for off-chain, and then integrating on-chain integration so that there's nice user interface for engaging in sort of conversations, proposal making, signaling, like running polls and other things to just kind of like understand what people are thinking, and then getting votes on chain. So we are putting work into that, and we would love also contributions and ideas from everyone. If you've got a network that you're participating in that you think is doing it quite well, let us know. And if people want to contribute here, please do. An example, so there's a proposal, I think there's sort of like the first nascent steps towards a proposal are maybe underway around enabling transfers. And there's also going to be, I think pretty soon, a proposal that will start getting cooked up around the next network upgrade to 04 SDK version 043 with Regen credit module and the groups module, which is like getting us close to our full functionality, actually. So there's definitely a bunch of activity that's going to start coming up. So let's dig in there. So with that, that's really, obviously, I think everybody on the call has sort of heard the spiel a few times. So you can go check out the roadmap updates, and you can get the Google Calendar if you haven't already. But with that, I'd love to just pause. We're at the sort of 15-minute mark, and see if there's any conversation that wants to happen, about enabling transactions, for instance, or anything else that's on people's minds now that we have a live public blockchain that is up and running. Not everybody all at once. Hey, Daniel.
Daniel, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're muted.
Nope.
Hey, I'll jump in here for a second. Hey, how's it going?
Good. You're breaking up a little bit, but I think we can hear you.
I think he's on a 30-second delay.
Headset not working. Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
there we go.
yeah, I don't think it's working. You guys go ahead.
All right. Anybody else?
So this is Patrick here.
Patrick.
I see in the thread, the forum thread about enabling transfers, Gregory, you have written, as we come up to full stake and have stability, enabling transfers is a great idea. So I'm curious why you think that full stake is important before enabling transfers.
You know, given the token distribution and the various sort of vesting or lockups, I actually don't think there's a lot of threat to network security for enabling transfers, but being very just being very conservative about, governance and running a blockchain. When you pass the 66% threshold of staked Regen rather, staked whatever the asset is on a proof of stake network, that is sort of like the level at which there's no way that someone could like accumulate enough stake to impact the state of the network. That's sort of the definition of Byzantine fault tolerant. So as long as there's 66% plus one staked, there's no way to sort of like make the network go Byzantine. So that's the level at which, from a technical perspective, the network has achieved sort of like a full security. Now that doesn't mean that if you drop below 66% staked, it's necessarily a threat to the network, but is no possible way to have a threat to the network if you're above 66%. So that's what I was referring to.
Okay, cool. I had not thought that through. That makes a lot of sense. And how does the public sale fit in with that? Just in terms of quantities of tokens, I'm not clear on. So like right now, there's the tokens that were sold in the private sale. There's the tokens that are being minted as inflation and rewards. There's the tokens that the foundation and R&D Inc. have. Are there other tokens that are currently set aside for the public sale?
Yeah, there's 4% of tokens are set aside for the public sale. Or 4 million tokens are set aside for the public sale, and 3 million tokens were set aside for some sort of airdrop-esque. I don't think we really want to use an airdrop because that's a sort of older mechanism, and I think there's more creative ways to do this, but a way of sort of distributing tokens and honoring the Cosmos Hub and Atom holders and the role that they play in the larger ecosystem and sort of the importance to the health of our network from our perspective. So there's 7% total that have yet to be allocated. Everything else is, pretty much allocated out. Yeah.
Okay, so if everything, I guess a part I don't understand is the minting. But if everything that exists right now, everything that has been distributed right now were staked, then we would be at 93%. We would be at 93 million regen tokens staked.
Well, we could even go higher than that. I think our R&D is currently holding the keys to those 2 allocations that will be in the public, sort of that will be yet to be allocated. And I think, I don't think have yet staked those, but I think we will stake those until in the interim between now and when they get distributed.
Okay, so we could, and I see on the Explorer that that we're at above the circulating supply or total supply keeps going up. So if I'm understanding minting correctly, and I should rewatch the part about token economics and reread the white paper, but I guess that minting is creating new tokens above the 100 million.
Yeah, well, that's the block rewards. So block rewards, or the inflation of the total supply, is currently at 20%,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's being distributed proportionally. So
Right.
if
Okay.
over a year, 20 million, if it stays at 20%, 20 million new tokens will be minted and distributed to people who have tokens staked. That's as soon as we go above the 66% threshold, that proportion will start going from 20% to 7%. And as long as there's more than 66% staked, 7% will be the inflation rate.
Cool. And have any of the other validators?
And by the way, just by the way, those are all parameters that are governed by you, the token holders. So those are all things that we, as a sort of decentralized community, could change. The rate of inflation change, the maximum and minimum levels, those, we have kind of control as a community over those mechanisms, which are designed to incentivize people to stake their region, improve the security of the network, and participate in governance. So
cool. So I see both on mainnet and on the devnet, when I'm looking at the Explorer and I go to the parameters section, the little gear on the left-hand side, it says under governance that the minimum deposit is 200 million regen. And there aren't 200 million regen in existence. So if that parameter is correct, then we can't make governance proposals.
no, it's 200. I think there's an error. I think it's actually
Okay.
There's some
It should be micro region.
There's this weird I think actually it's a Tendermint error in which there was chatter about this in the Ledger channel, that there is a bug that's causing that to show up as I don't even think it's showing up as UADA or URegen. I think it's showing up, it's like a weird, anyway, it's not correlated to the real.
Okay, so if I look in the Genesis file, I will see something different.
If you look in the Genesis file, the parameter that we launched with was, I believe, and we audited this, so I should remember. I think it's 200. 200 regen is the deposit to bring a proposal to a vote.
Cool. And have any of the other validators said anything about this idea of enabling transfers? Because I haven't seen much action. There's only the validators who've shown up just now, the people who want to be validators.
Yeah,
talking about it on Discord.
Until we have functionality and we're moving towards the public sale, and there's like the need to be sort of like moving tokens, the only real usage of just the usages of enabling transactions are probably in other new validators potentially coming into the validator set. That's one. People exchanging some tokens to give each other gas, because I know some communities members staked all of their tokens and can't get rewards. Those sorts of things are all sort of like, okay, those would be nice. And people may also want to start using IBC, who knows, to transfer tokens or have a secondary market. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if people are thinking about that or not, but obviously until we get the credit module up and running, which is soon, that these things 043 and the credit module are like in sight, we don't need transfers to be enabled to sort of like meet the market need yet. So anyway, and it's just a balance. It's a conversation for people to have. And I was sort of voicing my opinion about, I wouldn't be anxious to do it until there's more than 66% plus one staked personally. So there's no, that's just sort of like a number in my mind. But, just we are also our R&D, no one from R&D Inc. is going to take any actions on a transaction, transfer enablement proposal.
Mhm.
That's not our role in the community. So we would like to see a healthy discussion, and we'd like people to decide what makes sense with that.
Mhm.
And from our perspective, it's not a great big rush at this moment. There's no like
Right.
urgent reason to enable that.
Right, both the validator function is being fulfilled and the ecological ledger function doesn't need transactions enabled yet. But also the transfers of the 97 million, or only the 4 million that are up for the public sale, and plus the block rewards, what's that, 0.39 million, 390,000. Those are the only things that could be transferred anyways, right? Because everything else is in vesting accounts.
Block rewards, and there are some tokens that are not investing accounts.
Okay.
There's not
Is there any way to see that number?
I am quite sure that you could figure out a way to search and expose that. The current block explorers do not expose that data. But
Okay.
yes, I mean, it's in the blockchain. So you can 100% see if an account is a vesting account. So there, yeah.
Okay. So it'd be a matter of like looking at the Explorer, seeing which accounts have large amounts of regen. And then I already know what command it is on the command line to run to see if it's a vesting account. Anyways.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So, and just this note on like voting power and bonding. If you look at the validators, you can see everybody's, if you look at here, I'll just take a look at, we'll just do a quick screen share. Oh, and we're getting up to the end of time here. But anyway, I'll just do this really quickly. You can see, Simply Staking apparently has, there's enough numbers, I don't even know, what is that, 42 billion, some on, sub on. That's not accurate. There's some, they don't have 42 billion. They, all of, in the voting, in voting power.
They have 4,226,527.
Exactly, that's correct. So, 4% of the total token supply, in Simply right now. So just to note, and I believe that Anil was stating that this actually looks like it might be a bug, but maybe it's in Anika, maybe it's in actually like deeper in. So I think he's on that. But if you guys want to track that, I noticed that conversation was happening over in Discord.
I think Kepler, I noticed a discrepancy. I think Kepler, when you go into the staking dashboard on Kepler, I think it shows the right number. I think it's got the decimal place in the right spot, just for what that's worth. But
So
yeah,
it might be an Anika bug,
it
basically.
might be. Yeah.
That seems to be evidence that that's an Anika bug.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're up at the top of the hour. I want to respect everybody's time. Thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to continuing the conversation in Discord. So have a fantastic week, everybody. And I think we're going to look. We may start shifting this. I'm going to talk with Dan, but we're probably going to start shifting this to be every 2 weeks instead of weekly call, now that we've come through the event horizon of the mainnet launch. So we'll let everybody know.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Ciao.
everybody.